222. Welcome to the GCN Show. This week we're live from sunny California in the USA.
Matt, we're not live. It's YouTube. We keep telling you we don't do live.
And it's dark. And sun went hours ago.
It's true, you know.
It is California.
Cheers,
Got
Neil.
that right.
Thanks, mate.
California, where we ride on the correct side of the road, and everyone speaks a little more slowly.
Burrito.
You got it. That's
There you
it.
go.
That's right. On this week's show, Milan-San Remo. We've got the Tour of Catalunya.
Yeah, and don't forget all our usuals, like tweet, tech, caption, and comment of the week.
And possibly our best ever Extreme Corner.
The first of the year's one-day monuments took place on Sunday in the form of the 106th edition of Milan-San Remo, and it certainly didn't disappoint.
That's right. Once again, it was a cold and rainy Milano-San Remo. And once again, the main action came on the final two climbs, the Cipressa and the Poggio.
Yeah, we had attacks from the likes of Geraint Thomas, Greg Van Avermaet and Zdenek Stybar. We had mechanical problems of Mark Cavendish. We had cramps from Ronde Greipel, and we had crashes from Kwiatkowski and Ciolek, amongst others. But despite all of that, we had a big group of 30 coming in to fight for the win on the Via Roma.
Yeah, and it did seem when we got there that Alexander Kristoff, the defending champion, might actually end up doing the double, but he had to go start his sprint a little bit early, and at the end of the day, it was John Degenkolb of Giant Alpecin who managed to overcome him and take his first monument.
And he's now top 10 beards as well.
I wouldn't be surprised that's not his last monument either, Matt.
Actually, is it a beard?
Stop
You
it.
can't call a moustache a beard.
Time for Caption Competition now, your weekly chance to win some GCN swag. Last week's photo is this one of Elia Viviani chasing after his wheel in Strada Bianca, and the winner is James B, who said, "Dave, note that down. Removing the quick releases is not a marginal gain."
It was good, James, but it wasn't that good.
Dave, don't that down.
Now, here is this week's Caption Competition photo. Quite a good one, I think you'll agree. Dan, do you want to get started? That's not bad. But before we leave it, can you just explain what that tan line's all about on your neck?
It's just a trick of the light. Something to do with your camera, I think.
You've not been on a sunbed in a balaclava?
Not for a couple of weeks.
No, fair enough then. Unexplained. Now, if you want to enter the caption competition, then just pop your name. No, you don't. Just pop your caption in the comments section down below.
All of those, just do that.
Yeah.
Your name will be there
It's
automatically.
We've been on the road for 24 hours. Just bear with us.
And a half. Details are somewhat sketchy at the moment, to say the least, but it seems as though Bjarne Riis has been suspended from Tinkoff Saxo by the owner, Oleg Tinkoff himself. Now, apparently the team riders actually knew about this suspension before the start of Milan-San Remo, but they all remained very tight-lipped.
Yeah, not particularly surprising, given that their boss is currently wielding a massive axe, but, you know.
Well, some people think it's a personality clash, and others think that it could be just the fact that Tinkoff wants to save themselves roughly €1 million a year.
$1 million?
Interesting. That's what he says.
That's more than we get paid.
Only just.
Trek announced they've updated their range of cyclocross bikes, the Boone and Crockett. Starting this summer, some versions will be available with 15mm front through axles as well as hydraulic disc brakes. And the addition of a front through axle is big news. I raced on the Boone 9 disc all last season, and while there were many things about the bike I loved, I did have some problems with front end brake shutter. The quick release hub just didn't seem strong enough to handle the braking power of a hydraulic disc brake. Under load, the fork sometimes flexed and the front wheel would sometimes shimmy. Interesting. The new models aren't available with Shimano's Di2 drivetrain, only mechanical. Also, the new models won't have rear through axles, front end only. Based on Trek's press release, the new Boone 9 disc appears to come stocked with an aluminum Affinity Elite through axle wheel. But you can bet that come cross season, Sven Ness and Katie Compton will be riding the new through-axle Bontrager Aeolus D3 carbon wheels first mentioned here a few weeks ago. Best of all, Trek is offering existing Boone and Crockett owners an upgrade program. Early adopters can trade in their quick-release fork for a new carbon through-axle fork at authorized Trek dealers. No word on what the associated cost might be or how soon they'll be available, but when they are, I'll be first in line. The first stage of the 7-day Volta Catalunya looked to be a day for the sprinters. However, a 3-man breakaway went up the road.
crossing the line 2 minutes and 40 seconds ahead of the main peloton.
Yeah, and ominously actually for the GC riders in the race, 2 of the 3 up the road are actually very good climbers in their own right. Pierre Hollande of Europcar and also Bart de Klerk of Lotto Soudal. However, winner on the day was Petersky of the CCC team, and incredibly, he actually finished Milan-San Remo the day before, 293 kilometres, not just finished, came 22nd.
That's fantastic, right? But I know a few GC contenders have kind of almost conceded defeat, still with 6 days to go. But I guess if they want to make up some ground, stage 4 is the crucial stage with the category climb, or category 1 climb, summit finish. Comment of the week this week comes from Lee A. Dorney underneath the How to Ride More Safely video. Now Lee says, at 117, side checking himself out in the shop window, OMFG lols.
There's no way I was doing that. There's just no way.
Well, I couldn't believe you'd do that. It'd be terrible for your morale.
The evidence is plain to see, I believe.
At the other end of the bike racing spectrum, Austria's Christoph Strasser has just set a new world record covering the greatest distance ever cycled in 24 hours on a road bike, covering 557 miles or a shade under 900 kilometres in one go. That's just over 23 miles an hour for 24 hours, which is pretty punchy. And he did so in the amazing setting of a former airfield, which might get a little boring.
That's a long way.
Very impressive.
That's a long, long way. On the channel this week, on Wednesday, it's how to train to improve your power.
The scientific jury is still out on this one, but training in a big gear is something that pros and amateurs have been doing for a long time, and to the benefit of many.
Thursday is the top 10 musette surprises. The contents of the musette remain a surprise, with the rider unaware of what's inside until the feed zone. Here are 10 things that could dictate whether that surprise is a pleasant one or not.
And on Friday we show you exactly what a criterium race is, and on Saturday we take a closer look at Joaquin Rodriguez's Team Katusha Canyon.
That's right, Sunday is off the back, and Monday, how to clean your cycling shoes.
Overshoes on. For your muddiest shoe, where it's in ground on the top part and also on the sole, don't be afraid to submerge them fully in some soapy water.
And then Tuesday, it'll be the GCN show, but with a little bit more, well, what should we say, sparkle? We'd be a little bit more awake.
Alertness.
Yes.
Awakeness.
Get shorts on as well.
Yes.
You bought your flip-flops, haven't you?
I've got flip-flops, yeah.
I only got sandals.
Great.
It's time now to recap our personal surprises, best performances and biggest disappointments of the last week. Now I'm going to start because I've got a huge disappointment, and that was JJ Lobato at Milan-San Remo. He skipped Tirreno, he didn't do Paris-Nice either, he was at home training specifically for it, dreaming about it, and then he went and got dropped on the Cipressa. Disappointment has nothing to do with the amount of money I had on him to win.
There you go. I think an impressive performance is definitely worth noting is Niccolò Bonifacio, the young 21-year-old, comes from San Remo, 5th place in his first ever Milan-San Remo for Lampre Merida. A great hope for Italian cycling for the future, so I think that's my favourite.
You probably better put your money on him, Dan, next year.
Yeah,
I did
early.
this year. He was 250 to 1.
Was he?
Or 300, I think.
For surprise of the week, and this is a big topic, we'll just touch on it. Lance Armstrong going back to USADA to meet with Travis Tigert, the man who gave him the lifetime ban. A few years ago, Armstrong famously stormed out of a meeting with Tigert and says, "You do not hold the keys to my redemption." I guess he does.
I liked this tweet actually from Leighton Bannister, which said, "Ha ha ha, I think I paused this week's GCN show at the best moment ever. At Cy Richardson, at Tom Last."
Do you know why it's the best moment ever? It's because it's just before we got to see you wearing your Cervelo test team kit with your white shorts, so that he's paused it because he doesn't have to watch that bit. Stop! No!
I did actually hear from the person that took that photo who said that they'd like to be paid from now on if it's going to be used again.
Just before we go to bed, we will leave you to our separate beds, by the way, that sounds a bit dull. Just before we each go to different rooms.
They've got
and go to
huge
sleep,
beds here.
They're actually really
we will
nice.
leave you with Extreme Corner, which was shot today, and I think you'll agree it's pretty extreme.
It's really extreme this week.
If you'd like to see some advice on improving your performance up long climbs, then click up there.
or to see Neil being put through his paces in a waxing salon, then want to click down there, just past the waxed legs, and watch that video down there.
And to subscribe to GCN, just click on either one of us. It's absolutely free. Preferably me, or Dan, or Neil, or Si.
All right, let's get back to the California lessons.
Okay.
One more time. I want to hear it. Burrito.
Burrito.
Slower.
Burrito.
That's good.
Burrito.
Margarita.
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 That was a little too slow. I think Dan was just right.
Pavement.
Motorway.
Freeway.
Trunk.
Mailman.
What?
Mailman.